So this one gives us a cost function and a revenue function, and that's asking us to find the x values of the break-even point. So if we're looking for break-even, that's the place where the cost equals the revenue. So for instance, if it cost me $2,000 to make something and then I sold it for $2,000, right, I broke even because the cost equals the revenue. So what I've done up here is I've just set, and I wrote this in descending order because I think it looks better. I just set the cost function equal to the revenue function. And then after that, we're just kind of doing the math and solving for x. So let me scoot this over now. So that I'll have a little more room here in a second. So we'll start by, let's bring this 175 over. So we go minus 175 on both sides, or 175x. And we're doing that because this is quadratic, and when we're going to solve a quadratic equation, we need to get everything over to one side and have it set equal to 0, and then we can either use factoring or the quadratic formula to solve. So a little different than when we did the linear equations back in chapters 1 and 2, I think mostly 1. When we set those equal, we would get x to the first. In that case, we got everything away from x, but with the quadratic, we want to get it to this form. This would be minus 100x plus 2100 equals 0. So we want to get everything on one side equals 0. And then I bet this factors, and it's probably really hard to factor that if you're not a math teacher. So I'm going to go with quadratic formula, just because if these numbers are easy, the quadratic formula will work, and if they're terrible, the quadratic formula will work. So it's a good plan. If it's something really simple to factor, like say x squared plus 6x plus 8, what multiplies to 8 and adds to be 6, that I would encourage you to just factor the easy way. But what multiplies to 2100 and adds to be negative 100, I bet it's going to come out to be 30 and 70, or both negative 30 and negative 70. And then the zeros are going to end up 30 and 70, just kind of guessing looking at those numbers. Again, I'm a math teacher, so that might be much clearer to me than it is to you. So let me do the one with a few extra steps, but that is certain to get you where you're going. So quadratic formula, negative b, so negative of negative 100 would be 100, and then plus or minus negative 100 squared minus 4 times a is 1 and times c is at 2100. And then that's all over 2a, so 2 times 1, or 2. And so this is x equals 100 plus or minus, there's a calculator, here we go. So I'm just going to toss all that into my calculator real quick here. On 100 minus 4 times 21. Cool, so that's coming out 1600 under there, over 2. And square root of 1600 is probably going to be 40. And it is. And so then this means this is either 100 plus 40 divided by 2, in which case that would be 140 divided by 2, and that the plus one would be 70, or it's 100 minus 40 over 2, so that would be 60 over 2, and there's the 30. So again, I can kind of look at the 21 and the 100 and go, I bet that's going to do this, and there's tons of numbers that I wouldn't be able to do that with. So it's a little bit long, but if you just get it popped in the calculator right and do your steps, it'll come out right every time. So that's basically what there is to the end of this section. So it looked like you had a few more to do on this, so I did reopen that assignment, and you should still be able to get into it and finish those up. And I think, like I said, I think this is kind of the game plan for most of what's left on that.